Hey everyone, this is Steve Alexander, Dr. A. It is Thursday, April 18th. Rick Kamla and I are here to break down everything you want to know about the playoffs on a rare day off in the NBA.
What is up, basketball fans? It is the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Rick Kamla, Steve Alexander, FSWA Hall of Famer, a.k.a. Dr. A. I'm the fantasy freak. And, Doc, obviously the play-in tournament games are going on right now. We're dark tonight in the NBA. We have no ball. Don't get me started. But we'll get a doubleheader tomorrow. We'll have 8 games over the weekend. We will be satiated. But tonight we will be emaciated without basketball. Let's talk about the events of last night. Philadelphia beats Miami in an absolute thriller. And, Doc, Nicholas Batum, what was that? That was an out-of-body experience. I anticipated coming on here talking about Embiid or Maxey or, something on the Miami side. No, Nick Batum stole the show. And Miami got up on Philly and was looking good, right? They're at 8, 9, 10-point lead in decent control of the game. And then the 3-pack of Nick Batum, Buddy Hield, and Kelly Oubre with Embiid and Maxey got Philly back into the game and ended up winning the game. And for Batum, this is a moment of a lifetime, Doc. And he had the game-winning block on Tyler Hero on a 3 that could have tied the game with about 30 seconds left or something like that. So here we go, Doc. I don't know. I think this postseason stuff's pretty fun to talk about, man. Did you have Nick Batum on your bingo card or a DraftKings lineup last night?
I did not. But he just caught fire off the bench. He hit 7 of 12 shots. He hit 6 triples, scored 20 points. He's been there looming around in the background for Philly all year. And a lot of times they were starting him. Oh, man, I'm going to have a tough time figuring out who I'm trying to talk about. But who's the forward that was hurt for them all year that sat on my 30-deep bench all year?
Covington.
Robert Covington. So they were starting Maxey over Robert Covington when Covington was healthy. And not Maxey. They were starting Batum over Covington when Covington was healthy, and that didn't make sense to me. Batum so much, and maybe it's because they knew he had this in him all year. I don't know, but it came out of nowhere, and he single-handedly, like you said, is responsible for that win. I think
he was amazing. Joel Embiid had a lot of clutch plays. How do you think he looks right now, Doc? When you look at Embiid coming back from the knee injury, and how does he look to you? What percentage does he look like to you?
63, 70. He's not shooting it very well, but he's active and he's doing Joel Embiid things. He definitely needs to be out there if he can be at all. I don't care what percentage he's at. What do you think? What do you think he looks like?
I'm with you. I think he looks about 75% to me. I'm not saying, the help side shot blocks. He doesn't really block shots on his man unless his man takes the ball right to his chest, and then he'll, block his shot. But he's good at, Batum or, Harris or somebody got beat off the dribble. Let me go over here and get a little tip block. He's really good at that, and I haven't seen that. So when I see an out-of-space rebound, Doc, right, like one where he's got to go way outside of his radius and go snatch that thing and be kind of quick twitch about it, I'm not seeing that stuff. I'm seeing a guy who's got to be available for his team, and I certainly appreciate it. He had that bucket against Jaquez, the and one late that was nice. And I thought, look, he's back, okay? And he's giving them what he can. I love the warrior aspect of what Joel Embiid is doing right now. Coming back and, he got cut midseason and all this kind of stuff. I think it's great. And, speaking of injuries, Doc, as we continue here on the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast, Jimmy Butler blew a tire last night. I called him out on NBA radio yesterday. Called him out for another cruise control regular season. Said, where is Hulk Smash? Where is, this is my house, this is my court? Where is that? We haven't seen it all year. I didn't see it last night, Doc, but I did see a good game from Jimmy Butler. I saw an activation game. We saw 3 steals leading to runouts. Okay, that's a staple of Jimmy's game, but you don't see it a lot because he just doesn't rev up the motor that high. Shams Charania is reporting he's feared to have an MCL injury in his knee. Injury could sideline Butler for an indefinite period. MRI to come. And Jake Fisher put out that Butler was seen limping, leaving Wells Fargo Center last night. Doc, look, man, this sucks. I don't understand why Jimmy Butler got hurt. And what I mean by that is he pump fakes Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre buys the fake. Jimmy Butler then goes up and kicks out his right leg into Batum's landing, Oubre's landing space. Oubre didn't do anything wrong. He went, other than buying the pump fake, went up in the air, came down, little brush foul, whatever. Nothing malicious, wasn't trying to roll up into him or anything like that. Jimmy Butler kicked out his right leg, the right leg that's injured right now. I just don't understand why Jimmy Butler did that. I feel bad for him. I wish him well, but I just don't understand why he kicked out his right leg, Doc. By the way, that's illegal. You can't do that. That's an offense.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you there as to what he was thinking or why he did that. I do know he hit 5 of 18 shots. I do know that I think he's done. I mean, I don't think we're going to see him again in this, in the early round matchup that they have. But that was a tough loss for the Heat, man. I mean, they lost the game. They thought they had won, and then they lose Jimmy Butler late. And, the Heat's entire thing rides on playoff Jimmy. And if playoff Jimmy ain't there, the Heat aren't there. So they're going to need a lot of Jaime Jaquez if Butler's done.
So Chicago beat Atlanta last night. Let's get you talking about your Hawks. But first, we can't bury the lead. Coby White is the lead. 42 points, a career high, had 9 boards, had 6 assists. The Hawks had no answer for him, obviously. And Coby White, Doc, he's my most improved player of the year. And it's super tight. My brain kind of toggles between Maxey and Brunson and Coby White. I think when you look at Maxey and Brunson, first-time All-Stars, big spikes in scoring, stepping up with other guys being out, like awesome cases for most improved. Like last year, I was pissed that Markkanen beat SGA. I thought that was highway robbery. Markkanen didn't even finish the year. Like, what were the voters doing there, right? And I believe Shea is going to get shamed here in the MVP voting, and he should not. He's my MVP. And Coby White is my most improved player, Doc. So I don't know where you're at with that, but talk to me about what you saw from Coby White last night.
I mean, he's kind of a freak. And when I took him with the 125th pick or the 160th pick or whatever it was in a 30 deep, I did not know that was a pick that was really going to shape my team and mold what I had, because that allowed me to put De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, and Coby White all out there together. And that's that big man, little man combo. If you have 2 good point guards like that, you're going to be good. And so the fact that Coby White, basically, I think he is the most improved player. I don't like when guys like Ja Morant or like these established stars are winning that award, because I feel like they already had their breakout season. SGA's breakout season was last year, and I like it when they give the award to guys that are not household names and kind of had a great season and kind of grew into their own. And he got a lot of help because Lonzo Ball was gone. Guys were hurt a lot. So it was really up to Coby White to carry the load. And then that game against the Hawks, I think if Coby White doesn't play like he played last night, they may not win that game, because he was a one-man wrecking crew that sort of did it all.
Doc, I liked what you said about you like it when breakout stars win most improved. I do too, but that's not how the voting goes. And I'm not saying this in any kind of way with you. I'm just it's usually like literally if you look back at the last 10 or 15 most improved, there's a trend. It's usually a first-time all-star. And you're right. It's a guy that either totally popped the year before or kind of popped the year before. And then the next year they validated it with an all-star. And I feel like the voters in most improved are lagging behind the career spikes of these players. So I totally agree with you. Now, for people that are trying to pinpoint this and bet on it, I would say bet on Brunson or Maxey over Coby White because Coby White was not a first-time all-star. Maxey and Brunson were. And they're also much bigger, as Doc said, more established names. And they're easier to vote for. And a lot of these voters don't grind all of the numbers, and they're not in the lab watching ball every night. You're like, how? Because they aren't, okay? A lot of them are in arenas every night where you're covering one game, missing the other 10, okay? So there's a lot of that going on. Alex Caruso, a.k.a. the homie, Doc, he's in my top 5 favorite players in the league. I love Alex Caruso. I love how hard he plays. Like him and Suggs, just completely, I love those guys, okay? You know me, Doc, I'm all about the dogs. How much dog you got in you? We're going to get to Trae Young. Trae Young's got no dog in him, like none. There's no dog at all. That's a huge problem. But for Alex Caruso, we got a huge problem here, Doc, as the Bulls look forward to their matchup tomorrow against the Heat. The Heat aren't going to have Jimmy Butler. I don't think the Bulls are going to have Alex Caruso, Doc. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting he suffered a significant ankle sprain, and his availability against Miami on Friday is in doubt. Andre Drummond stepped on his foot. I mean, Andre Drummond with the friendly fire, Doc. My God. He blocks the dunk attempt off the backboard by Torrey Craig and kind of almost hurt him while doing that. Then moments later, Drummond hurt himself stepping on Hartenstein's foot. And now just coming back up the court in transition, he runs over Alex Caruso while stepping on his foot. What is going on here?
Why was Andre Drummond on the court for 11 minutes? I don't know. It's one of the great mysteries of Wednesday night. But yeah, I mean, the Caruso injury stinks. That guy, you know, to your point, as a fantasy basketball player, that dude he gets a block, it seems like every single game. He gets 2 steals, it feels like every single game. I know the numbers probably don't say that, but he fills up a stat sheet when he plays. So for the Bulls to be missing him is going to be tough. And you know, based on Woj's report, we're not going to see Caruso play tomorrow either.
We are not, Doc. I'm looking at my team in the Cam Dynasty because I had Alex Caruso on this team. We keep, if you want, 15, or you can cut some guys and then you can make draft picks out of that. I have a lot of tough decisions. I have more than 15 guys that I want to keep, and Alex Caruso is one of them. So I'm like I said, Cade Cunningham's going to be on the move here in the offseason. I may add another player with that to free up a spot so I can keep Caruso. Now, the thing with Caruso, Doc, going into next year, that is a little concerning, and maybe I won't do this. I still have a lot of thinking to do about this. Think about why Caruso spiked this year. No Zach LaVine, no Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo Ball might be done, okay, so I'm not waiting on his return. LaVine will be back next year. Io's going to play. Coby White is going to play. You have DeRozan, and you also have Caruso. So I wonder if Caruso is going to fall back to like a 26-minute-a-game guy next year as opposed to this year, Doc, when he averaged 29 minutes a game, basically right at 10 points, 1 block, 1.7 steals, lighting the boards and the assists, but not horrible. 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.9 threes per game. So, Doc, I'm big with, obviously, the fantasy gold, block, steals, threes, but I'm also big with the 1-1-1 guys. The 1-1-1 guys are giving you they're checking the 3 block and steal box every night. And Alex Caruso at a guard spot is doing that at 1 block, 1.7 steals, 1.9 threes. He's a very valuable fantasy player, Doc. To me, You got to have a lot of guys scoring 17, 20, 30 to offset the 10 that Caruso's giving you, but he's banging 2 threes, giving you 2 steals, giving you a block. I just wonder if his playing time is going to go back to like a buzzkillish 23, 24 minutes next year.
I mean, it feels like it could. If Lonzo's back, if it's been so long since I've seen Zach LaVine, I can't even remember his name. If LaVine is back, that's going to hurt a little bit. And because Coby White's going to be getting tons of minutes too now. Like that performance last night, he hit 15 to 21 shots, 9 to 10 free throws, 42 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Caruso, but I really don't think it matters how many minutes he's out there. He's going to get those numbers. He's going to find a way to make it happen. Like I doubt he's going to lose any value between this year and next year.
Well, then I have a tough decision on my hands, and I got trades to make in the Cam Dynasty. So who you got in the first play-in tournament? Pardon me, let's talk about Trae Young here for just a minute. Pardon me. It is the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander, a.k.a. Dr. A, FSWA Hall of Famer. So there's all these reports that the Atlanta Hawks have a fork in the road this offseason. They have to move either DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. Doc, I am big on getting Trae Young out of Atlanta, okay? I have fallen out of as a player. He's just a player for me now. I used to be a big fan. He strikes me as a stat guy and not, a winner or a dog or really a high-level competitor. He's a stat guy. He's tremendously talented. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's got some of the best numbers at the point guard position of all time. Okay, I give him all of that. Tremendous fantasy player. But I think he's a stat guy. I really do. So Doc, I think they gotta move Trae. And I think they gotta move Trae to the Lakers. Bring back Reeves, bring back Rui, probably 3 first-round picks that the Lakers can trade this summer. They can't trade more than that, but Reeves, Rui, 3 firsts for Trae. I think that's right there. Okay, maybe you can add another one through a 3-way trade kind of thing, and move forward with DeJounte. And Doc, last night's plus-minus numbers literally are a microcosm of the Trae Young DeJounte Murray thing. Trae Young was a minus 27 in 43 minutes last night. A minus 27. Okay. The Hawks were minus 18 with both Young and Murray on the court together. They were a minus 12, a plus 12 with Murray on without Young, and a minus 9 with Young on without Murray. Doc, the Hawks are better with DeJounte Murray. There's not a doubt in my mind. I've seen it all year. And then, bam, we get those stark numbers last night. So I think they got to move Trae. I think they got to keep DeJounte, build around Jalen Johnson. I'm presuming you're getting back Austin Reeves. That's your big 3, and move forward with your franchise. Was that Trae Young's last game as a Hawk, Doc?
I don't know. I feels like it might be. Because like you said, it initially when the trade deadline was rolling around, the only name you heard was DeJounte Murray getting traded. DeJounte Murray's gone. And guess what? He's still here. And now I went to that Hawks game last week and nobody was talking about trading DeJounte Murray. Everybody loves DeJounte Murray. Now everybody's talking about trading Trae. And the rumblings on trading Trae started last year, and he didn't like it. And now the rumbling is turning into a small roar. I mean, it does feel like Trae Young is going to be traded by the Hawks. And Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves, I'm down. Send me Austin Reeves. I'll send you Trae Young, and we'll let DeJounte just go out here and run the show, man.
Reeves is awesome at playing off of stars, okay? He doesn't need the rock all the time, but when DeJounte Murray is off, you put Austin Reeves out there, then he'll get busy against second units, and you can stagger them that way. And, I mean, look, Austin Reeves does not bring the star power, the firepower, the 1,000-watt that Trae Young does, but Austin Reeves, I think, is more of a winning basketball player than Trae Young. Again, I'm not saying he's a better player. I think he's a better system fit. and a better winner. Okay, because you're going to have them in a different lane. You can't win big with Trae Young as your number one. You can't. It's not going to happen. I know they went to the East Finals a couple of years ago, and that was cool. It was good. It was a shocking ahead of schedule run. That was also a really, really deep and talented Hawks team, and you also had some help with Ben Simmons and the falling out of the Sixers in that second round. All right, Doc, who do you like? Chicago at Miami. Miami is laying 1.5 points. We're presuming no Butler. We're presuming no Caruso in this game. Heat and Bulls. Who you got, man?
I'm going to take the Heat just because they're at home, but I don't feel good about it. I mean, if Coby White goes crazy again and there's no Jimmy to pick up the pieces in Miami, because we know, I don't know, man. We're gonna need a Jaime Jaquez game tomorrow night on ESPN to pull that out for the Heat. But I mean, the Heat are the better team. The Heat are the more fundamentally sound team. The Heat are at home. The Heat feel more like a playoff team than the Bulls do. I mean, I just feel like the Heat should win that game, but no Jimmy. Who knows?
So I got Miami in this game. If Chicago had Caruso, I would be taking Chicago. But Orlando is screwed when they don't have Jalen Suggs. He literally powers their defense and he vibes everybody out. Caruso is the same guy for the Bulls. If they don't have him, now Ayo Dosunmu, who's good, is their perimeter Sikkim defender. Again, he's good. He's not Alex Caruso. Caruso's all defensive team good. Okay, he's elite. Ayo's not elite. So that's where the house of cards crumbles for me. And Caruso's a glue guy. He gets deflections and passes and little rebounds and little kickouts that lead to a bucket, hockey assists. He just does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. They are going to miss him if he doesn't play tomorrow night, and I don't think he's going to play tomorrow night. Guys, he has been battered down the stretch of this season. It's ankles, it's hard falls. I mean, he is literally a crash test dummy out there. And I'm not sure he'll be able to overcome this one. It looked pretty bad. He tried to play through it last night, and it wasn't the same stuff. But Doc, you got some other angles here. You know that I'm big on career games and career years in terms of what's next. Well, what's next is the fallback, the crash, the comeback to earth, the law of averages catching up to Coby White. Cool. You had 42 against the Hawks at home. The Hawks are one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They're very, very generous, and you fried them. Awesome. Good for you. Now you're going to Miami against a team with a defensive mindset and identity, and they're going to know that they have to stop you to win? No. Coby White's coming back to the pack. I would fade him in over-under props and all that kind of stuff. And Miami's others, to me, are ready to step up. Caleb Martin, Jaime Jaquez was making big shots down the stretch last night. Haywood Highsmith making big shots down the stretch last night. And they're going to have to dust off Duncan Robinson now. He didn't play last night. I believe he'll be back in the rotation on Friday. And once again, trying to prove to Spo that, I don't suck. I'm actually a really good player over here. I'm a Duncan Robinson guy, Doc. I think he needs a new team. But we'll leave that for another day. Sacramento at New Orleans tomorrow, Doc, as we continue on the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander. Sacramento on the road with an 0-5 record against the Pelicans this year is a 1.5-point favorite. Who you got?
I did not realize they were 0-5. That is interesting information. That's like the Pacers' dominance over the Bucks, kind of.
Yep, 4-1.
Yeah, Sacramento. I like the fact that Sacramento has De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray, and I'm glad they made that run they made through the playoffs last year, because that's really going to come in handy tomorrow night in this game. The fact that they're favorites on the road is really hard for me to get my head around. The fact that New Orleans backcourt plays such good defense also scares me a little bit about them slowing him down. But I'm gonna go with the Pelicans at home. I'm taking the points.
So I don't think Vegas has a good read on the Pelicans, Doc. I don't think Vegas has a good read on them. And that's rare. They've always got a good read on everything. I don't think they have a good read on the Pelicans. Here's why I say this. The other night, the New Orleans Pelicans were favored against the LA Lakers. I found that to be very, very mysterious and dubious and, eye-raising. Why? LA is a very, very tough matchup for the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans looked awful on Sunday against the Lakers, okay, who dominated that game at Smoothie King Center. We know how bad the Pelicans are at home, right? They've lost 6 straight home games. Why? How could they be favored over the Lakers in that basketball game? Well, Doc, it took my mind to go with the whoa. When I see a point spread, I'm like, whoa, what is Vegas thinking? It's almost always in the favor of where I don't think it should be, right? Like it's mind games. So Vegas mind gamed me into thinking the Pelicans were going to win that game the other night against the Lakers in the play-in tournament. Of course, they almost did. A lightning bolt comes down on Zion Williamson. And we'll never know, but I think they would have won the game with Zion. The Lakers won the game and covered, okay? So to me, that's Vegas not having their finger on the pulse of the New Orleans Pelicans. You put a dubious line out there, yet the other side won that one. Doesn't make sense, okay? Disconnect. This one, too, it does not make sense that Sacramento is favored in this game. It doesn't make sense. Guys, I know, no Zion for the New Orleans Pelicans. We get that. That sucks. That's their best player. Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter are out for Sacramento. It's not like they have galvanized and solved some riddle here where, oh yeah, they're fine. They're going to make a playoff push now. No, they're not. No, if they beat New Orleans, they're going to get rolled in the first round. Okay. Keegan Murray had an act of God game. Keon Ellis had an act of God game. Harrison Barnes had a game where he gets up and it's a reunion game against his former team and he had 17. Okay. I can promise you that Keon Ellis and Harrison Barnes will not combine for 30-plus points tonight at New Orleans. I promise. It will not happen, okay? And then you have the bounce-back factor on the New Orleans side, AD. Do we think C.J. McCollum's going to bounce back tonight with more shots without Zion? Check the box. Do we think Brandon Ingram is going to bounce back after being benched basically most of the fourth quarter? And again, no Zion, more shots for him. P.I.'s going off tonight, Doc. And so that's how I look at it, man. I think there's a lot of advantages here for the Pelicans. By the way, you have a air out of the balloon situation for the Kings. They finally beat their rivals, the big bad Warriors from the Bay in the Battle of Northern California. So they've already kind of done something here, Doc, right? Whoosh, they got that monkey off their back. They ended the Warriors season and officially ended their dynasty. I thought the dynasty was over long before the events of the other night, but for Sac, they literally were the ones that drove the stake into Dracula and killed Dracula, okay? So, are they going to be full of piss and vinegar tomorrow night at New Orleans or act like they've kind of already done something? I like New Orleans tonight, Doc. I will take the points at home. And by the way, one more factor. They are super due. I believe in the principle of due. It goes back to the law of averages. The Pelicans have lost 6 straight games at home. Does that make any sense to anybody? No, they're a good team. Why are you a 500 or below 500 team at home? I don't know. It's weird, okay? So something's got to change with that. They're not going to lose the next 80 home games, okay? At some point, the law of average is going to kick in, and I believe it's tomorrow night. Doc, let's move on to some playoff series here. 2-seed New York against the 7th-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. I'm in love with this basketball series, Doc. It is my favorite series in the East by far. Maybe my favorite series in either conference, but I don't know. But I love this series. Give me your prediction. How many games, New York and Philadelphia?
I didn't really go over that one in my playoff preview because we didn't know who was playing who yet. But it's Sixers and Knicks. I'm going Sixers in 6.
Really? You've got the Sixers? Woo! Really?
Joel Embiid. There's too much hype around Jalen Brunson, man. And the Knicks are missing guys. They don't know Julius Randle. They overperformed all year. The hype machine is all jacked up right now. We don't know how healthy Embiid really is. And the media will tell us that Jalen Brunson's getting ready to take over the world. So I'm going contrarian and rolling with what I know, and that's Joel Embiid.
I like the take, but I don't like the prediction. I'm busting your stones here. I have the Knicks in 7, Doc. This means war, not between you and me. We're brothers. This means war. Philly and New York, come on, man. 2 rivals, everything on the line. They play in the same division. You have no Julius Randle, but you also have Joel Embiid at less than 100%. So no excuses. The Knicks aren't going to make any. I'm not going to make any. I think the no Randle thing puts a cap on ultimately who they can beat, right? But I think the Knicks can get to the East Finals. Like I've got them number 2 behind Boston, even without Julius Randle, in terms of like a power ranking thing. And then you've got the 4 teams in the West: Denver, the Lakers, the Suns, and Dallas, who are looking like really legitimate championship threats. So I couldn't pick New York to beat any of those 5 teams, but I could pick New York to beat any other team in the NBA. And so including Philadelphia here. This is going to be an awesome strategic adjustment, counter adjustment, when to call timeout, who's going to get a technical foul, who's going to call challenges at the right spot between Nick Nurse and Tom Thibodeau, 2 of the best masterminds in the game. I can't wait for that delicious strategy to play out and all the conversations it's going to generate. You have the most improved showdown here with Brunson and Maxey. You have Joel Embiid versus, let me try to get this right, Doc, Robin Steinua, which is Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Precious Achua. Okay, so it's no longer Robin Stein, it's Robin Stein Achua. Okay, because they're all going to be thrown at Joel Embiid here. But that's a pretty good trio of bigs to throw at Joel Embiid over a playoff series. So I like how the Knicks kind of match up with Embiid. Brunson, to me, is going to be the best player in this series, Doc. And that's in large part to the Embiid injury, but it's also because Jalen Brunson, and I guess I'm going to continue to billow this hype, Doc. He's one of the greatest winners we have in the sport. He just finds a way. And Philly doesn't have that defensive shutdown guy to just put on Brunson. Oh, man, that's going to be a tough series. Like a Suggs or like a Caruso. They don't have that guy. So I think Brunson's going to cook. And it's going to come down to, Doc, Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. And I think Brunson's going to have like 39 or 40 in that game. And that's going to be the difference, man. So I think that's going to be a hell of a series. Doc has Philly in 6. I've got the Knicks in 7. These conversations will continue. So let's go to Bucks and Pacers here, Doc. You go first. Bucks the 3 seed, Indy the 6 seed. Who you got? How many games?
Pacers in 6. Homer. Giannis being injured is obviously the elephant in the room. I mean, it's huge. Best player in the league, one of them, is not going to be able to play against the Pacers. They're coached by Doc Rivers, which that's usually a bad sign if you're in the playoffs. You really don't want Doc on your sidelines. And then he's like, well, yeah, Indiana dominated us all year. I guess we're going to go practice and see what happens. And that's going to be tough, man. Ty Haliburton, the Pacers fans, everything about this feels Pacers to me. And then, one of the last clips I saw of the Bucks the other night was Damian Lillard kind of on the bench with his head down, not looking like he was having very much fun. And I don't think he is having fun. And the moment that Milwaukee got rid of Drew Holiday and added Damian Lillard, I'm like, they just went from a defensive team to an offensive team, and that's it. I don't like it.
It hasn't worked out for them. Clearly, I would redo it. Like if I were the powers that be with the Bucks and I could redo it, I could go back in time. I have this one opportunity to go back in a portal and change it. I would go back and change it. I would, because at that point I would keep Grayson Allen. I would keep Drew Holiday. Okay, I like that version of the Bucks better than this version of the Bucks. I have the Pacers in 6 as well, Doc. I don't believe that's a homer pick. I am fading the Bucks big time here. No Giannis equals a first-round exit. And I might even pick Indy with Giannis, okay? That's where I'm at with this. This is a horrible matchup for the Milwaukee Bucks. Horrible. It was horrible during the regular season. And it becomes even more horrible in the playoffs because they don't have Giannis. Indiana is a poison pill for the Milwaukee Bucks. Beat them 4-1 in the regular season. Beat them in the in-season tournament. That was a crushing defeat for Giannis. He was very pissed off about that. There was a Final Four game. And then the next game, of course, Indiana got bowled over by the LA Lakers for the NBA Cup. Damian Lillard struggles in this matchup, Doc. It's not good for him on either end. He struggles with point-of-attack defense and all of the pick-and-roll scenarios that Indy is going to run. And the problem for the Bucks is they don't have the personnel to blitz Haliburton. They don't have 6'8", 6'9", mobile, active, doggish perimeter guys like a Dorian Finney-Smith who you can just sick on him, man and a half him, blitz him, and disrupt the pick and roll. Watch the 1-5 pick and roll for Indiana in this series. That's the point guard and center. That is Tyrese Haliburton and Miles Turner. Watch that because they get Damian Lillard and Brook Lopez in the switching action, and they fry him in a pan. Okay, neither Lopez nor Lillard has a clue how to guard that. They still haven't figured it out, Doc. So look, how did the Lakers beat the Pacers in the NBA Cup? They blitzed Haliburton. They took the ball out of his hands. They had great point of attack defense, and they blew him out of the water. Milwaukee cannot do that. They're going to try to do it. They're not going to have the weaponry to do it. So they have to blitz Haliburton, right? But it's like blitzing Mahomes, okay? Doc, when you blitz Patrick Mahomes, he puts you in a frying pan and wins Super Bowls. So the Bucks are screwed. If you don't blitz Haliburton, he's going to beat you. And if you blitz Haliburton, you don't have the guys to do it well enough to really impact it, and he's going to find a way to beat you anyway. So this is a horrible matchup to me for the Bucks. I got Pacers in 6. Cleveland and Orlando, Doc. Cleveland, the 4 seed, Indiana, the 5 seed. Who you got, baby? How many games?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Magic are sort of like the Eastern Conference. They're the new Heat. They do things right. They have good young players. They have a combination of bigs and littles, little and big guys that seems to work well together, sort of like Indiana does. And there's a lot to like about the Magic. They were almost the number 2 seed in the East for a minute there. But having said all that, I like Cleveland having Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland in the backcourt. I like them having Mobley and Jarrett Allen up front. I like the fact that Cleveland has home court advantage in the series, and I've got Cavs in 6. I just hope Donovan Mitchell is healthy enough to make it happen.
I got Cavs in 7, Doc. I'm going to give Orlando one more game. But the Magic need another score. I've been saying this for most of the year. I've watched, Doc, at least 70 Magic games. I don't know. Like, they're one of my teams that I pretty much watch every game. The Spurs, the Nugs, the Lakers, the War. I mean, there's a lot of them, okay? I don't watch every game of every team, but there's a cluster of teams where I do watch every game. And the Magic are one of them, okay? I really have a good read on this team, a good feel for this team. They are going to lose this series, but they're going to fight like hell, and they're going to make it a heck of a series, okay? And then the stepping stone process, next year they'll come back, they'll have experience and all that kind of stuff. But tangibly, they are one player short, okay? Because you got Suggs, check the box. Franz and Paolo, one of the best forward sets in the league. I like your 3-pack of centers with Mo Wagner and Batadze and Wendell Carter. I'm fine with that. The problem is, Doc, they're missing 18 to 20 points in their starting lineup. They're not getting it from Gary Harris. They're not getting it from Anthony Black. They're not getting it from Markelle Fultz. They've got to redo that spot. They got to upgrade that spot. Go get Malik Monk. Go get Klay Thompson. Go get somebody who can give you 20 points a game. It can be off the bench if you want, but you gotta find that guy. They're missing a scorer. And this is a series, Doc, you went through the star power and the firepower that the Cavaliers have. Ultimately, that's going to be the difference here. They're going to make one more shot, have one more big pop performance. And the other thing, Doc, well, there's many things, but Orlando is a pretty lousy road team. They're very, very good at home. So I think home court is going to really matter in this series. And I think the Cavs are going to probably handle their business. The Magic are probably going to handle their business. And then, boom, we go all the way to 7. And the Cavaliers with home court advantage are going to win it. But the dog in the Magic, like you said, they're the new Heat. I like that take, Doc. I won't steal it. I like that take. But the dog in the Orlando Magic is going to keep them in this series. They're not going to let go of the rope. They're going to come back from, they're down 13 in game 3 in the second quarter. They're going to, oh, we suck. Let's move on to next year. They're not going to do that, okay? Like the Phoenix Suns might, right? The Suns are great at letting go of the rope in games like that. Magic aren't going to do that, man, but the Cavaliers' firepower will prevail in the end. Let's go to the West, Doc. The 2-7 is Denver and the LA Lakers. Who you got? How many games?
Let's see here. Denver Lakers. I've got Nuggets in 5. But that was early. Yeah, I don't know, man. If LeBron and AD can get out there and play every game of this series, it's gonna be fun. There's no doubt about that. Nikola Jokic, Rick, are you worried that he's so chill and so cool and so amped just to get home and hang out with his horses that he may not care as much as he needs to about winning another championship? Like, I mean, I think he cares. I think that's the whole reason he's doing this. But I worry about he's just so chill. And like, somebody else should win MVP. I don't need it. I don't care. He's just so chill about things like that. I wonder if it's ever going to come back to backfire on him.
He might retire, Doc, before we're ready for him to retire. On this tip that you're on with all of his off the court stuff and all the family stuff and wants to go back to Serbia and all of this. He might retire, right? Like, whoa, you're 33, Jokic, what are you doing? You've still got good years left. Like, that might happen, but I don't think that this is going to sap any present tense competitiveness from him at all. There's a couple of things with Joker. He's hard to read. He's very sarcastic, but he's super dry about it. And when you're like, I have my wife with dry sarcasm sometimes, and she's like, am I supposed to laugh or cry? I don't really understand. Like, it's like too dry. You know what I mean? It's meant to be a joke, but it's just delivered too dry. So you're like, remember when he said, I didn't touch a basketball the entire offseason, right? And everybody freaked out about, oh my God, he didn't work out at all. He's going to be in horrible shape. The Denver Nuggets can't repeat. He's in horrible shape. He didn't touch the ball. Like, this whole thing, right? Wasn't a thing at all. It was a joke. He was effing with us, okay? So, Doc, no, I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. I don't think it's going to be anything at all. Jokic is different, man. Jokic is not a jet set guy. Jokic does not want to join the Illuminati. Jokic does not care if he's, oh my God, I'm not in all these State Farm ads. He doesn't care. He's rich beyond his wildest dreams. He's the best player on earth. That's the other thing, Doc. When you are so freaking good at what you do, okay, like some LA heart surgeon, right, has a couple of cocktails, playing 18 holes. We've got an emergency. Come on in here. And the guy just rolls in and saves the dude's life with brain surgery, getting off the golf course. Why? How? Because he's that freaking good at it, right? He can just like roll in and do it. Where it's magic for guys like you and me. Yeah, you just use the scalpel and you suture here and blah, blah, blah. Jokic is that way. I mean, think about how like effortless his shots look, right? These turnaround Dirk Nowitzki Iron Lake fadeaways with Anthony Davis closing out with his wingspan, and Jokic just goes off glass from 30 feet. And he's like, it's what I do, man. It's what I do. He's just that good. I just think he's that good, Doc. And the great ones make it look easy. And the really, really great ones make it look effortless. And Jokic is that guy. I got Denver in 6, Doc. I'm going to give the Lakers 2 games. Because last year, it was the West Finals. LeBron was out of gas. They got beat all 4 games. But those games were pretty competitive, right? And the Lakers were there, and they just didn't do it in the fourth quarter. Having this series be in the first round sucks because you might go home in the first round, which I think they will. But you are getting a better chance to beat Denver with this series earlier in the playoffs rather than later. So I will give LA 2 games. I like the way Reeves and Russell are playing, although Russell is he sucks against Denver. Remember, he fell out of the rotation in the playoff series last year. His numbers, 14 points with very bad shooting against Denver this year in the regular season. So this is a very bad matchup for D'Angelo Russell. And it's an outstanding matchup for Jamal Murray. He went 32 points per game with 50, 40, 90 shooting in their playoff series last year. And this year in the regular season cooked them again. He is a Laker killer. There's no doubt about it. I got Nugs in 6. How about Wolves and Suns, Doc? The 3-6 series in the West. Who you got? How many games?
Karl-Anthony Towns is back. Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards are playing on another level. Anthony Edwards is going to walk into that locker room and be like, guess what, guys? We are not losing this series. I'm not going to allow it to happen. This is the Anthony Edwards breakout party playoffs. The Suns are kind of dysfunctional. I've got Wolves in 6.
Doc, I believe that Anthony Edwards is 1 year away from all that you are saying. I believe that you are my guy. You are one of my dear friends on earth. And I believe you're wrong about Ant-Man. I am not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. He's not there mentally. He's there physically, but he's not there mentally for me. He's not serious enough yet. And he's not serious enough because he hasn't suffered enough loss. He hasn't been traumatized enough by losing an NBA playoff series. And that may never happen because he's a very roll off my back kind of guy, a very laid back. I mean, I love Ant-Man. Don't get me wrong. Love his personality. Like nothing bothers him, right? Ever. And that's great. And like playoff losses should bother you. They should eat at your bone marrow. Okay. And I just don't feel that from him. I don't feel the super competitive Ant-Man. I don't feel the Ant-Man is going to will the Wolves over the Suns and will them to a long playoff run. I just don't feel that, Doc. I don't think his intangibles are there yet. I think the tangibles are there. The intangibles aren't there yet. He's not mentally tough enough. He's not mentally smart enough. And I don't mean like overall. Overall, he's very smart. But in the gut of games, decision-making with 2.5 to go, with 3.5 to go, with 33.6 seconds left, he frequently does not make the right decision. It'll be a pass when he should shoot. It'll be a bad shot as opposed to driving and getting free throws, right? It's just he doesn't fully understand all of that yet. And that's fine. He's still a very, very young guy. I feel like you're a year ahead of schedule with that, Doc. I got Suns in 7. And the Suns have the best shot-making trio in the league with Durant, Booker, and Beal. The best shot-making duo is Luka and Kyrie. But when you take it to the third guy, Phoenix has got him. Best defense in the league. But the kryptonite for the best defense is the best shot-making trio in the NBA. And Beal is rolling right now. Beal humiliated the Wolves Sunday in Minneapolis. I got Suns in 7, Doc. One point I agree with. I think it's going to be an awesome basketball series. Like, awesome. Okay, I got it going 7, but I got the Phoenix Suns winning. And by the way, we know that Wolves fans should be prepared for a complete and utter disastrous heartbreak, right? Okay, so here's how it goes. You win Game 6 in Phoenix. They win Game 6 in Phoenix to force a Game 7 in Minnesota. They have all the momentum. They got it cooking. And Kevin Durant, with 17 seconds left, goes whap. Wolves lose. Everybody's buzzkill. That's how it's going to go. 4-5 series in the West, Doc. On the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast, Rick Kamla and Steve Alexander, FSWA Hall of Famer. Clips and Mavs. Who wins? How many games?
I don't know why I have Denver in 5 and I've got the Mavericks in 7. I feel like I should flip-flop those two numbers. I should have the Mavs. I don't know. Okay. I've got the Mavericks in 7. I am all about this Luka Kyrie love affair. These best friends picking each other up off the floor, never complaining, smiling, acting normal. Mavericks went on a 16-2 run to close out the season before they shut them down with 2 meaningless games to go. The Clippers and Dallas kind of don't like each other. I haven't seen Kawhi Leonard in about 3 weeks. We haven't seen Kawhi Leonard. I don't like that for the Clippers. I think this Clippers team becomes extremely mediocre when you especially when you take Kawhi out of the mix. Now, Kawhi might play in game 1, They say they're planning on having him. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I don't know what percent he's going to be at. I don't really care. I just feel like Luka and Kyrie are fired up right now, and I think this is the year where Luka's going to be like, all right, I took over the league this year, and now I need to keep going through the playoffs.
I got Dallas in 5, Doc. I am going to fade the Los Angeles Clippers significantly. Dallas in 5. Here's how it's going to go, guys, because the Clippers have home court advantage. Dallas is going to win game 1. The Clippers are going to rally, find a way, save the series in game 2. Dallas is going to go in game 3 and game 4. The Clippers aren't going to win in Dallas. They're not. And then game 5, Dallas is going to go back to LA and be like, yeah, we're done with this. And by the way, that's when James Harden's going to go 2 for 20, Doc, right? Game 5, you're down 3-1, season on the line. All the pressure in the world's on James Harden without Kawhi Leonard. And he's going to go 2 of 20 from the field. And put a lot of thought in Steve Ballmer's brain about not bringing him back. Steve Ballmer, he's obviously brilliant. He's the richest owner in the NBA. And he is foolish for messing around with James Harden. I told him, Doc, don't make the trade. Don't do this. And he did it. Okay. So buckle up. The Harden heartbreak is right around the corner, folks. And it may happen sooner than game 5. So quickly here, Doc, let's see here. You got a prediction on the who wins the NBA finals before we get out of here.
Yeah,
to win the finals, dude.
Well, I've got the Nuggets versus the Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. And I've got the where's my East? Oh, I don't know. Celtics over Nuggets in 6 games to win the championship.
Ooh.
You've got the Nuggets over the Celtics, I'm guessing.
I didn't do games, but it would be 6 or 7. It would be a long series. I do have Denver over Boston. I do. They beat them twice in the regular season. Murray goes off against the best defensive backcourt in the league. He did both times. They don't have an answer for Jokic, even with Porzingis. And Gordon is obviously a great guy to put on a Jason Tatum. When he's on and Brown's out there, you put him on Brown. And I think it's going to be a great series, Doc. I really do. But I got Denver. My West Finals as well is Denver and Dallas. Probably a 7-game series there, but I think Denver would win. And I have Knicks and Boston in the East Finals. The Knicks, they just got that dog, man. They play harder, they play smarter, and they want it so bad. I don't know. I'm into this Knick thing, man. I'm a believer, even without Julius Randle. And that's not fanboy stuff. That's legit. I don't think the Knicks, like I said, can beat the top 5 teams, the big 4 in the West: Denver, Dallas, Phoenix, and LA. And I don't think they can beat the Celtics, but I think the Knicks can beat any other team. And so I've got them pretty confidently in the Eastern Conference Finals. Doc, we are out, dude. Any last messages for the people before we say bye-bye and wish them a happy first round?
Well, my Eastern Conference Final is Celtics versus Pacers. So,
ooh,
I'm taking my Pacers and my Mavericks to the conference finals on both sides, and then we'll see what happens. I got Celtics beating them in 5 though, so Celtics are good, man. I still think you're sleeping on the Celtics a little bit. They just ran over the league this year, just mowed them down. So, all right, I will be back on Tuesday with Kyrian, and we're gonna know all the matchups by then, and then Rick and I will be back here next Thursday, and we will have a lot of new information to cover by then. And some of these stories are going to be really dramatic within a week. So pretty psyched about it. Thanks for coming, everybody. Rick, have a great weekend. We will see y'all soon.
Later, guys.